Lamb to phone number 41444. That's a special phone number. Just those numbers. 41444. Send the word Islam right now. It will send you a link. Do something regular every month. Do something. Whatever you can do. Don't stop. Because that's what will keep this going even after I'm gone. And this is what I would love to see. I'd love to be in the grave knowing that this is going to keep going and growing. And you can make a difference. Do the three things that I said. Number one, pray and ask God to accept it and make it better. Number two, share the message with others. Let them know what we've got going on. And number three, if you're able, do something, but do it regular. And that's it for our program tonight. I ask all of you to keep up your prayers, keep up your connection with the law, and stay guided with Guidance TV. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. And one.
And we're coming to you almost live from Southern California. Not myself personally, but this person who I think you will recognize is Sheikh Yusuf Estes.
Yeah, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. For those of you who have just tuned in and it's your first time ever watching our channel, my name is Yusuf. I want to be sure you get that right because some people still pronounce it useless. Anyway, we got a great program lined up for you tonight, and we wanted to share with you some good news. And to help me do that, we have Sister Kim, who is currently in Yuma, Arizona. Is that right, Sister?
Yes, it is. Yuma, Arizona, where today we hit 80 degrees. Absolutely beautiful out here. Anybody who wants to get away from the snow, you're more than welcome to visit.
All right. Well, get away from the snow. Well, over here today, we had some beautiful weather. It was so nice. It was probably in the 70s. We went from 60s to 70s. It was nice and beautiful. Although they shut our water off about 8:30 this morning, and then it came back on almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But other than that, and now we have no hot water at all. But the good news is you don't have to have hot water to make wudu. Yeah, right. I'm glad I'm not up north with that problem, right?
Well, that's one of the problems that we have here where I live is my apartment complex uses all one hot water heater, and the hot water heater is located way down the way. So I have to turn on my water and let it run for about 15 minutes before I get any hot water in my place.
Oh, wow.
But then we have the opposite problem. Then we have the opposite problem in the summer, and it gets so hot here that we don't have any cold water. You turn on the cold tap and it comes out steaming hot because of the heat outside.
Well, I think that this is a good chance for us to talk about some of the things that you and I face, because we're converts to Islam. We're formerly in different religions. I was in a form of Christianity, and you were in a form of, well, I'll let you tell everybody about it.
I was a pagan for 15 years.
A pagan? Okay, tell us. I think we should find out what is a pagan. Yeah, exactly.
A pagan is somebody who worships more than one god or goddess, and they also usually worship the perceived spirits in trees, rocks, rivers, streams, things like that. Basically, they believe that the whole world has individual spirits that inhabit everything, not like your TV or something like that, but natural things. And that presiding over all of that is a god and goddess, or more than one god or goddess.
All right. Do they have any kind of ceremonies that they do? Is that
They sure do. Typically will do a ceremony every full moon, and then there's 8 big ceremonies 8 times a year. And actually, one of them was just last night, and it was called Imbolc. And Imbolc is not one of the really big holidays, but it celebrates the coming of spring.
Imbolc. Okay, tell us a little bit about it.
C.
Huh?
IMBOLC.
IMBOLC. Okay. Oh my gosh. I think we got that one. I got a picture of something here, sister. I'm going to put it up, and then you can kind of tell us about this. Is that it's a fire, and it's like a, I don't know what this is. To be honest,
I'm waiting for it to show up on my end.
Huh?
I'm just waiting for it to show up on my end.
Yeah. Well, let me see if I can make it a little bit more clear. It looks like people running and a big fire, like firecrackers or something, or what is it?
And as you can see, there's the symbol of the sun there, and paying homage to the sun is one of the big parts of Imbolc, because as the winter turns into spring, the days get longer and the sun feels warmer. So, we thank the sun for being there for us. And another part of Imbolc, which I don't see in the pictures there, but especially in Celtic regions, which would be in Ireland, Britain, and northern Spain, another part of it is celebrating the sheep, which are just starting to give birth, which were such a big part of the lifestyle of the old Celts.
Sheep? All right, let's see if we find any sheep in here. I didn't see any sheep. Sheep. Wow. Okay. Let's take a look. Okay, well, there is some sheep, and there's weird shapes in here as well, sister. I don't know what these different shapes represent. Candles, and here's something. It says, let's see if I can shrink it down enough that people can make it out. Sound like a cat. Oh, is that a cat?
Yeah, but hello.
Imbolc. All right. Well, we got it. We got it on a picture here. Wow. Tell us a little bit more about some of the things that the pagans do. I think we need to know about that.
Sure. There's many different types of pagans, and they worship a whole bunch of different gods and goddesses. The aspect of paganism that I followed tended to follow the Celtic gods and goddesses. And so we went by what the Druids used to do, or are believed to have used to have been done back starting from before the coming of Christ and going up to about the invasion of Rome. And for example, like if you had a worship ritual on a new moon, it would involve lighting candles. If you were in an outside place, you'd probably have a bonfire.
Now, sister, we ran across something here. It's showing a rabbit and eggs. Is that from pagan worship?
Yes, it is.
The Easter eggs and the bunny is from pagan worship.
Yes, it is. The rabbit was recognized as a sign of fertility. As anybody knows, rabbits, they have a lot of babies. And true, yeah. The egg was a symbol of spring. And coloring the eggs is something that came a little bit later. But in the spring, the chickens would start laying again. Unlike modern chickens from back around the time of Christ were not as domesticated, and they did not lay eggs year-round. Because in the wintertime, as soon as the egg hits the ground, it would just freeze. So they would not lay eggs year-round, and they started laying eggs again in the spring, which is why the eggs are a symbol of springtime.
All right. Well, we're seeing some of those pictures right now. And to be very clear about it, I knew about this, but I didn't realize that it was still popular today. I didn't realize that. This is something that's going on even today, that people are nothing connected to Christianity whatsoever. Is that what you're saying?
The connection to Christianity came later.
What I'm asking, I guess, is the question: pagans can be still worshiping all of this stuff and have no connection to Christianity. Is that true?
Yes, that's true.
So the one who wants to be true to paganism, it doesn't even have to know about anything about Christianity. Then is that basically the right way to say that?
Yes, completely.
Wow. So other than, let me put that up. So this idea of Christianity and of having something to do with the Easter and with the bunnies and the eggs and all of that is bogus. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Whoa. What about St. Patrick's Day? Is that really a saint, or is that something about snakes? Do you know about that one?
I don't know where the story of St. Patrick driving the snakes out of Ireland came from.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
It did not have a basis in paganism. The pagans don't have anything to do with the Catholic saints.
Okay, but did they have anything to do with snakes?
The Celtics didn't really have anything to do with snakes. I have heard that the story of St. Patrick driving the snakes out of Ireland is supposed to be a metaphor for him driving the pagans out of Ireland. But pagans ourselves didn't have anything really to do with snakes.
Ireland. St. Patrick. I'm going to see if I can get anything going here with the pictures. And you are absolutely right. Here it is. It is showing one of the pagan, one of the pagan images. And here's St. Patrick, and he's driving them out. Yeah, exactly. And he's even wearing green. Well, I don't know. What about this thing about wearing green on St. Patrick's Day? Have you heard about that? Otherwise, they can pinch you.
I don't know anything in particular about that. I know that green was a very important color to the Celts, and it was a color that was often worn by the Druids because of green and the earth. But I don't know if there is a particular connection to St. Patrick and the color green that might have come from that. or if he was just known to wear green and that's where they got it from. I'm not sure which.
All right. Well, I'm learning really fast. I think all of us are getting a benefit out of this information. One of the things that I would like to ask you is that are pagans in their worship, are they really, are they religious? Are they really caring about what they're doing, or is it like a joke?
Oh, no, they really care about what they're doing. And one of the things that is kind of a parallel to Islam is pagans also believe very much in giving to charity. And typically the charities that they give to are charities that help the earth or help wildlife. And they'll also volunteer at food pantries. And so there is a parallel there that that they believe in good deeds, and that their good deeds are going to serve them in the afterlife.
Oh, so they believe in an afterlife?
Yes.
Wow. I'm looking at a charity in Missouri. It says Missouri and Australia, and it's a pagan charity, just like you said, and it looks like they're giving out food and things like that. Is that typical?
Oh, yes, that's very typical.
Wow. Huh.
A pagan afterlife, it depends on the pagan. Some pagans believe in reincarnation, and some pagans believe that you will go on to the next world. They don't necessarily believe in heaven, excuse me, but they believe that there is a better life after this one.
Okay. Wow. That was, yeah. Okay, well, the looks like what I read about this is pretty much on target, because what I read from the Catholic Church is that when the Catholicism entered into what's now Europe, that they had to amend or fine-tune, let's say it that way, their religion to kind of blend in with these folks to get them to come over to Catholicism. Have you heard about that?
I know something about it. There was the kind of the way that it happened, by my understanding, is Catholicism came with the Romans mostly. And
hey, I'm sorry, you got cut off, sister. You got cut off. There was, you said Catholicism came with something, and then we couldn't hear you. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Catholicism came with the Romans.
Okay.
And what the Romans would do is they would come in and they would attack a town, and then rather than leaving and going to go attack another town, some of the soldiers would stay put, and they would Romanize the town that they attacked. And so they would stay there, and they would marry in with the locals, and they would have children, and all while increasing the Roman Empire. And they brought Catholicism with them, and rather than by the sword forcing the pagans to convert and stuff like that, they took their religion and they took part of the pagan religion, and they made it work so that the pagans would be able to say, oh, well, they're using symbols that we've used, therefore they must believe some of the same things we do, and it was a lot easier for them to convert them to Christianity by that means. rather than hold a sword to their throat and say, you're going to worship Jesus now. They didn't do that. They did it by assimilating the pagans.
So, in other words, the pictures that I'm looking at now, I'm showing some of the things but it looks like it says the darkening age, how Christians won the pagans over to the Roman Church. Does that make any sense to you?
Yep. I'm looking at some of the pictures here, and the pictures that are being shown, from what I'm recognizing, some of them look like more from the Crusades, which was separate. The Crusades and the real hardline Christians came after the first Romans came into the pagan lands. When they first came in, they allowed pagans to continue to practice paganism. And it was later waves that came in and put their foot down and said, no, you're going to practice Christianity now.
Okay. Christianity, but what you're saying is basically it wasn't Christianity, it was a combination, or a sort of like a homemade stew. Is that pretty much it?
Right, exactly.
So, all right. I'm looking at a number of things here that do look like the Romans before Christianity, the time when the Christians were persecuted, actually, and raped and murdered and by the Romans, the Roman Empire. So the Roman Empire took over a sect of Christianity in 325 AD. So when would it have been the first time the Romans actually came into Europe? Would be before that, right?
I honestly can't answer that.
All right. All right. Well, we want to stay honest here. All right. So, but let's go back to the celebration you said today is Imbolc. What was that?
Imbolc. IMBOLC.
Yeah.
And it was last night.
Oh, that would be February the 2nd?
Right.
Okay, let's see what we got. Well, it says right here that Imbolc is the first rite of spring. I didn't know this. I seriously did not know about this before. Imbolc Candlemas. Candlemas?
Does that sound familiar?
Whoa! No, seriously?
Yeah.
No. Oh my goodness.
Although I think you're going to have to explain Candlemas because you probably know more about it than I did.
Well, everybody knows that that when you go into the Catholic Church, one of the first things, I was never a Catholic, but I had very good friends who were priests. And whenever you go into the church, you will see right up toward the front that you have a display. I think it's off to the, what is it, left side or right side? Maybe both.
I think it's off to the left.
A display of candles, and you can light candles. You light candles for different people, you pray for them, and that's a very popular thing to do. Wow. Okay, but I found something else here that I'd like to ask you about now, and let's see if we can get some clarification about this. It's called Pagan Witches' Wheel of the Year. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, the Witch's Wheel of the Year is a representation of the 8 high, and they actually do call them Sabbaths, which Imbolc is one of them. And so it's an 8-spoked wheel with symbols or the name of the holiday around it.
Okay. Now, we've got a better picture here. It's not as big, but I think it's a little bit more clear. Tell us about those, a little bit about the different, you said 8-spoke wheels. What do these wheels represent? The spokes.
The wheels represent the turning of the year. Each spoke represents one of the holidays. From what I see,
Sam Hain.
the one that just came up now shows the 8 spokes.
All right.
Rather than wedges.
All right. So we're looking now at something called Yule, Christmas, and Imbolc, the Candlemas, and Ostara, and which is Easter. And wow, this is really an amazing thing. It's telling us that I'm reading this for you guys. Let's see if we can put this up where you can see it better. Wow. It's showing a lot of the pictures that we just saw a minute ago. Let me see if I can bring that up in here. Yeah. And what it's saying, pagans still have rituals to bring back the sun. And that's it. That's one of the rituals there. And then here's Imbolc and Candlemas.
Imbolc.
And Candlemas.
Yeah, as you can see from those pictures that you've been putting up, you can see how the pagan holidays were interwoven with the Catholic holidays.
Well, it says that it says Imbolc, February 2nd, it is a major Sabbat. A Sabbat. It says Sabbat right on it, associated with the goddess Brigid. Breathe? Okay. Oh, no, that's breed, the pronunciation.
Like a breed of dog.
It said, later reiterated as Saint Brigid, means in the belly, as the year is now quickening in the goddess's belly. She's pregnant with the new year. Buds are beginning to come up, and there are signs of oncoming spring. The days are growing longer as the young god grows stronger, and there is hope for spring. Imbolc is also called Candlemas, and it is a festival of light. Candles feature strongly in the celebrations of this Sabbat. Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Whoo-wee.
Yep, and if you're outside, rather than lighting candles, you light a bonfire. If you're indoors, you light candles.
So, okay. So that's why we saw the bonfires.
Right.
Imbolc. Let me see if we can pull that up and see some more images of that. Well, yeah, there you go. We can actually see that. Wow. Whoo. Here's another one. These people still do this today, is that right?
That's it. Yep, they do.
But I'm going to ask something. Maybe it's a little crude, and I hope it's everybody understands. But I have heard many years ago, maybe 50 years ago, it was that I was hearing about, that the pagans take little babies out and animals, and they slaughter them, and they put blood all over everything. Is that any truth to that, or is that bogus?
Not modern pagans, and no pagans that I know of from Europe ever slaughtered babies. However, they would sacrifice animals at certain times, and they would use the blood as a method of divination. And by reading a blood splatter from when you slit an animal's throat, you'd be able to tell the future. But the stories of pagans kidnapping babies and using them in rituals and cutting them up is all false.
Oh, okay. But what about the blood splatters? You said something about that.
Yep, they would use the sacrificed animal to divine the future. Some pagans would read the blood splatters that were left over after you slit its throat. Some people would read the intestines of the animal. I have no idea how to do that, so please don't ask.
You know what? That was not on the top of my list of questions to ask tonight, about reading the intestines of dead animals. Wow. Okay, let's take a break, and we'll come back. We're going to take this short break, sister, and then we'll come back and we'll pick up. I want to see if there's a connection between this pagan bloodshedding and how they sort of played into that with the blood of Jesus. Let's see what we can come up with on that. And in the meantime, I want everybody to stay tuned, stay guided, because Guidance TV is here for you. You're watching The Newsroom, Islam Newsroom. The news you want when you want it, from the Islamic perspective.
Now we have some websites, alhamdulillah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Who is Allah?
Maybe we'll even see somebody enter into Islam.
Excuse me, do you believe in God?
Why do we call him Allah?
One more time, everyone. Okay, good.
These are the ones that we're going to be mailing out. Ilaha. Illah. Allah.
And I bear witness. That Muhammad.
And that's right, we're right across the river from Palestine, as a matter of fact, here in Aqaba. The new moon, the Hilal, has been sighted for the month of Shawwal.
When the adhan is called, it doesn't matter where you are. You go and you make your salah, alhamdulillah.
Now, I think this is something that, inshallah ta'ala, we'll all be able to benefit from.
Log in now and make your contribution today to support your favorite project at donatetoislam.com.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Guys, you know how to support our channel, and we just, alhamdulillah, passed the January mark, and we're up to date as far as it goes, but we don't want to go off the air this month. So if you've been a regular supporter, maybe you need to check and see, because some of them have run out, and you might want to go and check and remind some of your friends as well to support Guidance TV on a regular basis. We're really encouraging you to come on board with us, get the rewards along with us, and help us go and grow. And I don't want to use any more of our time talking about the support of the channel, so we'll just go back to Sister Kim. Sister Kim was a former pagan. She came to Islam a few years back, and let's ask her some questions, okay? Sister Kim, Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
MashaAllah. And I'm so glad that you came to Islam for a couple of reasons, not the least of which there's a guaranteed salvation for the person who comes into Islam, open heart, and accept everything and do their best to give service to the Lord and follow what He wants us to do. And at the same time, there is some service to the human beings as well. But you were telling us in the early part of the program that pagans, your former religion, the pagans have a big thing about charity. I'd like for you to talk about that a little bit.
Sure. Pagans believe that one of the reasons we're put on the earth is to support the earth. And that means supporting not only the wild areas and the wild animals, but also the domestic animals and people. And so they also believe in doing good deeds, and they believe that giving in charity, for example, will give them a better place in the next life. So pagans donate very heavily to wildlife foundations, food banks. Many of them will do one of those figurative adoptions of a child over in Africa. And they're very big in volunteering their time to plant forests. Many of them, if they have the space, will run rescue farms for farm animals. And they, like I said, they believe in doing good works. And so it's something that is a very strong part of the religion.
All right. So the Christian church has something of the charity commission that is something that's a commission that's supposedly coming from the Bible, the idea that you give unto others and share with others, which is prevalent in a lot of the faiths anyway. I don't know, I shouldn't say all because I don't know all of the faiths, but what can you tell us about that? Is there something called the commission or something like that?
Well, one thing to know is that there is no organized religion in paganism. There is no high priest or priestess that talks down to the various covens. Everybody operates independently. And so, like, for example, a group of pagans or a group of witches is called a coven. And within the coven, if they're really well organized and working together, they might have somebody that's in charge of charity, but it would be if the coven themselves worked as a group for fundraisers. In general, most pagans operate independently when it comes to charity, unless they're getting together to do volunteer operations such as like a food bank or planting a forest or cleaning up a river or something like that. The actual gifting tends to be on an individual level.
All right. Let's talk about that 5-pointed star. I'm seeing that a lot with the pagans. Is that something is that a real deal there, or what? What is that?
Yes, it is. The 5-pointed star, one thing that I have to say, it's very important to realize that if you are talking about pagans, then the star is pointing up with the pointy part at the top. If you're talking about Satanists, then that is reversed with the pointy part at bottom. The star with the pointy part at the top represents earth, wind, fire, water, and spirit. And each point corresponds with one of those concepts.
Okay, so the Satan star. Okay, let me see if I can pull that up. Satan's star. Well, you are right on target. I see this thing. Actually, oh my gosh, I never realized this, that the star itself could be, oh, look at that. The star itself has the face of Satan right in it.
Yes, it has the, as a Satanist would say, it's the head of Baphomet.
The head of who?
And it's the goat-headed god, and so the satanic star, or pentacle it's actually called, is drawn often with a goat's head in it.
Oh my gosh, look at that. That's scary looking. To me, that is really scary. Now, satanic symbols, I don't want to get too far into this thing because it's kind of scary to me, but I hope that, there we go. Wow. Yes, I see that now. Sister, can you tell us a little bit more about the actual worship there? Do the people really believe they're worshiping gods, or is it just kind of like a joke or a kind of a, I don't know. What can you tell us?
No, they definitely believe that they're worshiping gods. To a pagan, there's a god, depending on how they worship. Because, like I said, there's many different types of pagans. But in general, they believe that there is a main god and a main goddess, and then there's lesser gods and goddesses that are in charge of certain things. I'm sure that many people have heard, for example, of Zeus and Hera, who are the main god and goddess of the Greek mythology. And then there's the lesser gods such as Poseidon, Aphrodite, Hermes, and the other gods underneath them. And so, but they believe 100% real as we believe Allah is real.
So but what does the star got to do with anything? These are just charms that I'm looking at here, and how did that? Do you know how that comes about being part of their worship, or is it?
Interesting story, and I'm very glad that you asked, because I have to go into a little bit of history of modern paganism. Modern paganism is quite new. It was only developed in the 1940s by a man named Gardner. And what he did was he took an amalgamation of different rituals and practices from all over Europe and wrote them down and said, this is witchcraft. And he sold a book. And the book did very well, and that was the establishment of modern witches and pagans. In that book, he put the 5-pointed star and said, this is the one of the symbols of paganism, and we're going to use that in our worship. So the 5-pointed star actually has very little history in authentic paganism going back to pre-Christian times, and you won't find it carved into walls, you won't find it written in texts or anything like that. It's a modern development.
Okay, so the old stuff is really just it doesn't have all of the goodies that he put in there. Is that right?
That's correct.
So whenever we see these modern day witches or whatever they are, paganists or whatever, they're really especially if they've got that star with them, then they're just playing off of what was his name? Gardner. Okay, Gerald Gardner. Yeah, here it is. It's in Wikipedia. Okay, wow. Okay, now let's contrast that in the last part of our program. Let's contrast that with Islam. What was the main, you had all these things going on. You had stars and holidays and people and fires and blood and all kinds of stuff. What was it about Islam that first attracted your sister?
Well, what I should first say what took me out of paganism.
Okay.
And it was reading a book, and there was a line in the book that said, all gods are one god, all goddesses are one goddess, and the gods and goddesses are one. And I said, well, if they're all one, why am I worshiping so many then? And I walked away from paganism right there. And it was still a long time before I came to Islam. You know, I did a lot of soul searching, and for a while I was just an agnostic. And when I started studying Islam, it was in no way was it my consideration at the time that I was actually going to convert. I was studying Islam for the sake of moving to the Middle East, and I wanted to be familiar with it. But the more I studied it, especially when it came to the scientific revelations in the Quran, the more I realized there's some real truth to this. And I studied it more, and I started asking questions, and I started watching Guidus TV, and I finally came to the realization, this is the truth. This is the one way. I have been wrong all my life. And that's when I decided that I wanted to make my Shahada.
MashaAllah. So Guidus TV had a lot to do with it, huh?
Guidus TV had an enormous amount to do with it. Because at the time I was living in South Dakota, there were no Muslims in my town. The nearest mosque was down in Sioux Falls, and they were Somali and they didn't speak English, so I couldn't call and talk to the imam. And so I was on my own when it came to learning about Islam, and I found Guidus TV, and I could tune in at any time, day or night, and eventually my questions were being answered. All I had to do was just sit and watch, and eventually a show would come up that had something to do with what my questions were. And so I watched a lot of Guidus TV, and it really helped solidify my faith in Islam.
MashaAllah. Well, it sounds like we're doing an ad or a promo for Guidus TV. But yeah, I like that, though, because Guidus TV really, that's our purpose. We're out here to help people by watching our programs. I hope that a lot of people are guided. I love that idea. MashaAllah. Well, sister, right now I've got something I put up here. This is the flag of the United States, and then we put Guidus TV right in there because we love what our Constitution stands for. And there's been a lot of talk about the Constitution and a lot of talk about the changes that have been made to it and the actual people going against the Constitution, the voters and the attack on the Capitol, etc. This is all going on, and I think that it's appropriate for us really to try to go back to some semblance of unity, because we are called the United States, not the divided states. And I think that one of the beautiful parts of the concept of the 13 colonies was the unity, the coming together, and not trying to explore our differences, but trying to explore how we can go forward with the things that we all agree upon. And I've hoped so many times that this would be the case of Guidus TV. But your thoughts on that?
I think that one of the things that I hope that Guidus TV can do is, I hope, like you say, that it can be a unifier. I suggest all the time to friends and stuff like that, because I say I work on TV, and of course their first question is, oh, what channel, where can I watch it? And so I'm always telling people about Guidus TV, and very few of them are Muslims. And I hope that they tune in just so that they can learn about us and learn that we're not scary, and that we're not trying to blow up their buildings, and that we're not trying to cut off their heads with swords, and that it can be a unifier so that they can look at their next door neighbor who happens to be a Muslim and say, they are my brother and sister in humanity, and not question it further than that.
Well, I hope that that's the case. I hope that a lot of people see Guidus TV as a thing that unifies us and brings us together more so than divides us up into these different, So this is, I'm glad though that you're telling us about this, because from paganism to Islam, and that Guidus TV had a big part in that, that really, I think, speaks volumes on behalf of the effort that a lot of our brothers and sisters who have been supporting this channel and donating for it and spending their time, our volunteers and all of those who are working with us. Really, I'm happy, very happy about the many brothers and sisters who have come to Islam from these efforts. So yeah, regardless if they were pagans, if they were Christians, if they were Jews, or, even atheists, have come to Islam because of the one thing that you mentioned. And that, I think that this is a very important thing. I wish that many, many more people would just take time to look and examine that one thing called monotheism. Monotheism. I'm going to try to put it up here. Monotheistic. They always like to talk about the monotheistic faiths, but the reality is that if you're really a monotheist, that means mono is one, not two and not three. So if somebody is saying, well, we have God, but he's in three parts, or three things, or three spirits, or three whatever, that's not one anymore. You follow what I'm getting at, sister?
I know exactly what you're getting at. A perfect example of that is that pagans, for example, worship the goddess, but they see the goddess in three parts. She's the maiden, she's the mother, and she is the crone. And so you can't necessarily say that they are all one when you're worshiping three different ones.
Let me see if we can pull that up. There's a Hindu picture here. This is from the Hindus, but it also shows a goddess of three things here. And I don't know if that's supposed to be three different people or three goddesses, sorry. But I don't know.
Do a search for triple goddess.
Triple goddess. Okay, let's see what we can come up with. Triple goddess. Oh, it says it came up and offered more about it. The symbol of this triple goddess. Oh man. All right, let's take a look at that. Wow. And it shows a right and left, and ooh. This is scary looking to me. There are three faces here. Is this supposed to be one goddess, but it has three faces, or what?
Yes, the goddess, it's one goddess, and she has three forms, just like a woman going through life. Goes through three forms. She's the maiden before she has the children, then she's the mother, and as she gets older, then she's the crone, the old lady. And so pagans worship them, like during the spring, during Imbolc, they would worship the maiden because the maiden is not yet a mother. She has not yet given birth. And then as the year goes on and it starts getting colder and winter starts to seep in, that's when you would have the crone, the old lady. And so the triple goddess is a symbol of the passing of the year.
Okay, so where are we now when we're talking about blood sacrifice? We talked about that in paganism. We're talking about the three goddesses that are one. And you're talking also about another area about the rabbits and the eggs. A lot of this points directly at the Catholic Church. Are you saying then that it looks like they took on some of these different forms of worship to include that, to be more inclusive?
Yes, most definitely. The Catholic Church definitely took a lot of the symbolism that was in paganism and incorporated it into their rituals, and they went forward with it. Paganism on a whole didn't survive, except in little tiny areas, but the Catholic Church thrived.
Well, some of these images that we're looking at here, it's kind of scary because it looks like the image of Mary that they're showing here in this particular image is a cross between this goddess thing that you're talking about. And here's another form here. It shows exactly that same kind of thing, only there's wings in this picture and the blazing sun behind them. I think this is a good chance for us to maybe wrap everything up, but maybe if you don't mind, we could continue this tomorrow. Is that possible?
That's definitely possible, inshallah.
Because I just found it. I wish that we would have done this earlier. I'm seeing these heads exactly what you've depicted about this triple, what was it, triple goddess symbol in the Catholic Church. I just typed that in, triple goddess symbol, Catholic Church, and all of these things are coming up, even with that symbol in the background. Wow. I'd like to know more about this and what the Catholics might have to say about it. I think it would be very interesting. Perhaps we can have some of the priests or bishops on the program soon, and maybe they could clarify some of these images up for us and let us have a better understanding about all of that. Wow.
Yeah, inshallah, that would be great.
All right. So, Sister Kim, thank you.
إله bow to you, Allah. Oh my Allah, you are my Lord. I bow to you, Allah. Oh my Allah, you are my Lord. I bow to you.